This is Darren McCarty, 4-time Stanley Cup champion, Detroit Red Wings, Lemieux killer, Stanley Cup winning goal guy. You're listening to SportsRadioDetroit.com.
SportsRadioDetroit.com.
We don't need TV to entertain us. He said anus.
You actually have to contribute.
Wow. You're welcome.
Just send a couple tweets, Dave.
You know what?
Get the job done.
You know what, guys? You're welcome for every guest ever.
Darren McCarty will be joining us to talk about, I don't know, what the fuck ever. If Mickey Redmond hadn't chosen hockey as his profession, he would undoubtedly be a lumberjack.
True. Absolutely true. Absolutely true. Or he would have played one on TV.
I must have been bombed.
You were very bombed.
Because I don't remember that at all.
Was she a good sport about it? Did she enjoy your antics?
Yeah, she giggled a little bit.
Yeah, and she's a nice gal.
Yeah! Welcome. Out of Bounds Detroit Sports. David Faze, Mike Tripp, and myself, Dan Griffin, invading your ear hole as always on SportsRadioDetroit.com, Apple Podcasts, or wherever the hell you listen to podcasts. And please go to SportsRadioDetroit.com. Check out all the other wonderful content. Doesn't all have to be sports. Like we've said before, if you're a lady listening in the car with your man, or you're a man listening in the car with your lady.
Or a man listening in the car with your man.
With your man, or
whatever.
your lady with your lady.
Whatever it is.
Whatever is your cup of tea. We got some pop culture stuff. Just go check out the website. Just go peruse. Go check out a couple of the other shows. I mean, check out ours every time, but...
You looking forward to getting your t-shirt so you can hang it up on the wall because you don't know all the show names?
Oh God, yeah. Oh God, yeah. Because we've got like 20 shows. I've been over this with Roger. It's not something that I'm consciously avoiding, but there are too many shows for me to remember. We've got one of everything.
I mean, if you say something with the letters SRD after it, you're probably pretty close.
And exciting news for Thursday, as we're going to bring in a special guest on Thursday. Wasn't even my idea. Our favorite top female personality, Trudy Daniels of the Drew and Mike podcast.
Who's throwing out good ideas for our show now?
She's going to be joining us Thursday. Drew, actually. I'm emailing back and forth with Drew, and he's like, I'm telling him how long it's going to be before Trudy finally gets her trophy. He's like, you guys going to have her on the show or what? I was like, I would be honored. So I was messaging back and forth with Trudy on Twitter. So we're supposed to have her for Thursday. I hope that's still the case. I don't have a phone number or anything yet, but that's the goal. We'll have her on Thursday.
You better get on that, man. Because, I mean, how are you going to interview her or get her on the show if you don't have a phone number?
I know. I got to get that part I got to get that part worked out still. I'm sure
we're going CB radio.
I'm sure we'll figure it out. We'll get her on Skype or something. I don't know, but she'll be joining us Thursday. We'll see.
Trudy, over.
We'll see how big her ego is after winning this particular contest. How this contest has changed her life in the following ways.
It's like a life affirmations or something.
This is our first post-draft show.
Indeed.
So, of course, we'll be getting into some NFL draft a little bit later on in the show. What else did I have written down here? Daniel Norris hurt again. What else was there? I think we're going to try to call Tony in a second.
Just call him Matthew Stafford.
A few minutes.
Right?
Who?
Daniel Norris. Everybody thought he was injury prone.
All right. Well, that's an interesting take that we'll get into a little bit later on in the show.
He's still only, 24?
Tony Paul writing for a new publication, which I didn't even realize.
Well, it was a dual purpose story because it was in the news as well. He wrote
yeah. But he was on Outsports.
Outsports.
On SB Nation.
Which I did not know was a thing until Tony wrote for it.
Tony, a very gay man, finally came out. When did he come out? Like a year ago?
No, it's been more than that.
3 years ago, something like that. He came out on the Sports Cave.
Yep.
So I think we're going to try to call Tony, congratulate him, see what's going on with
the story. Do we know how long that has been a part of that network of SB Nation?
I have no idea. This is the first I'd ever heard of it.
That's what I'm saying. I just wonder if this is a new avenue for them, or if this is something that's been there and I just hadn't heard about it.
Maybe Tony will know.
I'm sure.
That's what we're going to call him.
I'm sure he will.
Trying to get into the gay world. We are as we try to figure out how the hell long Outsports has been on SB Nation. I didn't realize it was an SB Nation publication either.
Yeah. I
didn't expect to see that when I went to the website. Oh, it's SB Nation.
Well, everybody, it's a new time in the world. Everybody's trying to be everybody's trying to be well rounded.
Very progressive of SB Nation. Yeah. And speaking of progressive, did you how much of the White House Correspondents' Dinner did you watch, Dave?
Just this part. Quite frankly.
The only part that matters, the Michelle Wolf part. Did you watch any of it, Mike?
Pardon me?
Did you watch any of the White House Correspondents' Dinner?
I watched 0% of it.
I didn't watch any of it either, but I did go back and check out the highlights, much like Dave did. And I've got some things to say about the White House Correspondents' Dinner and about the aftermath. First of all, Trump wasn't even there. He didn't even show up. He was too big of a vagina to even show up to his own White House Correspondents' Dinner.
Because he knew how much he was going to get ripped.
Who cares? That's what it's for.
No, I'm saying that's why he didn't. I'm on your side, Dan. Of course that's what it's for, but he's already been there not as the president and seen what happened. So he was trying to avoid it.
It absolutely boggles my mind, the backlash that Michelle Wolf is getting for her little spiel at the White House Correspondents' Dinner, because this isn't fucking new. Nothing that she said was new. And you see two things all over Twitter. You either see the far left talking about how great it was and probably overhyping it a little bit, or you see the far right talking about how this was incredibly vulgar language and this has no place in our country. Here's the issue that I have. Okay, what is one of the and this is one of my bigger issues with Donald Trump, and this is one of his bigger hypocrisies, because Donald Trump, of course, takes to Twitter after seeing Michelle Wolf's little spiel and goes, This was a disgrace. It was incredibly vulgar, and it has no place, and we're going to do away with the White House Correspondents' Dinner. Of course, I'm paraphrasing. He didn't probably actually say any of those words, but very close to that.
He said, blah, 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 blah.
Here's what upsets me about that. Normally, I don't give a shit what Donald Trump has to say, but when a giant percentage of your campaign to get elected president of the United States is the fact that there's too much political correctness, right? You want to come out and talk about women as if they're animals, and you want to come out and you want to talk about the whole the Billy Bush thing gets released about grabbing women by the butt. We know he's a misogynist. I'm not going to call him a racist because I don't want to open that can of worms, but definitely a misogynist, right? Comes out, says whatever the fuck he wants to say. And
I won't say racist, but I'll say prejudicial.
Fine. And then you've got the far right, the crazy far right coming out and going, oh, he's right. There's too much political correctness. And you know what? Here's what I'll say. I can even get behind that. I'm with you. I'm honestly with you on that. I think there is a little bit too much political correctness on the left. I'm with you there. That's great. And you want to call us, or you want to call them, not me anymore. I'm in the middle now. I swear to God I am. You want to call the far left snowflakes and soft and pussies. And then you have your president going out after a couple of innocent jokes at the White House Correspondents' Dinner, basically calling for political correctness. You want to talk about hypocrisy? Get out of my fucking face. I can't take it. I'm going to play a little piece from it. For anybody that didn't see, Mike didn't see it. But these are good jokes, and they're White House Correspondents' dinner jokes. That's all they are. If they're going to play.
You got to hit it.
Here we are, the White House Correspondents' dinner. Like a porn star says when she's about to have sex with a Trump, let's get this over with. And I know as much as some of you might want me to, it's 2018 and I'm a woman, so you cannot shut me up. Unless you have Michael Cohen wire me $130,000. Michael, you can find me on Venmo under my porn star name.
She does have a really annoying voice.
And she
of course,
talks out of
Trump
the side of her
isn't
mouth.
here.
Yeah.
If you haven't noticed, he's not here. And I know, I would drag him here myself, but it turns out the President of the United States is the one you're not allowed to grab. We're going to try a fun new thing, okay? I'm going to say Trump is so broke, and you guys go, how broke is he? All right? Trump is so broke. How broke is he? He has to fly failed business class.
All right, that wasn't that great.
A lot of people want
joke.
Trump to be impeached. I do not. Because just when you think Trump is awful, you remember Mike Pence. Mike Pence is what happens when Anderson Cooper isn't gay. I did have a lot of jokes. I had a lot of jokes about cabinet members, but I had to scrap all of those because everyone has been fired. You guys are going through cabinet members quicker than Starbucks throws out black people. Democrats are harder to make fun of because you guys don't do anything.
Wait, I want you to watch something here. Okay, she's taking a dig at Democrats, which is great. That's fine. Watch, you see Christie on the screen there?
Yeah.
Watch this motherfucker just shovel food into his mouth. He must have been doing this the whole goddamn time. Check this out.
People think you might flip the House and Senate this November, but you guys always find a way to mess it up.
Just shoveling garbage in his mouth.
12 points to a guy named Jeff Pedophile Nazi Doctor. We should definitely talk about the women in the Trump administration. There's Kellyanne Conway. Man, she has the perfect last name for what she does. Conway. And of course we have Sarah Huckabee Sanders. We are graced with Sarah's presence tonight. I have to say I'm a little starstruck. I love you as Aunt Lydia on The Handmaid's Tale.
Have you ever seen that show?
Mike Pence, if you haven't seen it, you
Look at
would
her.
love
She
it.
is. Oh God, is she pissed?
Fox News is here, so you know what that means, ladies. Cover your drinks. Seriously. People want me to make fun of Sean Hannity tonight, but I cannot do that. This dinner's for journalists. I watch Morning Joe every morning. We now know that Mika and Joe are engaged. Congratulations, you guys. It's like when a Me Too works out. You guys are obsessed with Trump. Did you used to date him? Because you pretend like you hate him, but I think you love him. And if you're gonna profit off of Trump, you should at least give him some money because he doesn't have any. Trump is so broke. He grabs because he thinks there might be loose change in them. All right, like an immigrant who was brought here by his parents and didn't do anything wrong. I gotta get the out of here. Good night.
Oh, wait a minute. There's one more line because this is very factual.
Flint still doesn't have clean water.
Yes. She even brought up Flint.
We didn't even get the best Sarah Huckabee Sanders jokes in there either.
Oh, I know. But God, was she pissed? Did you see how pissed she was?
The perfect ashy eye line was
so
great.
So pissed. And that's what bothers me about this whole fucking thing. Like, this is something that's been going on for... When was the first, like, legitimate comedic White House Correspondents' dinner? I know for sure the Clinton administration.
I can't remember. Well, I mean, Conan's hosted it. Seth Meyers did a few years back.
Don Imus was on there for Clinton, calling him out. Clinton was there, laughing at jokes about him.
That sounds about right.
Bush laughing at jokes about him, whether it's Colbert or Seth Meyers. And Obama certainly laughing at jokes about him. But, you know, Donald Trump and his folks want to talk about how political correctness is run amok in the United States. It's run amok in our great country. But he can't even show up to indulge in a few jokes at his fucking expense. And that's the problem that I have, right? Politics aside, right? Let's just pretend. All right, can we play a little game here for just a second? Let's pretend in an alternate universe, Donald Trump decides business is good enough for him and he never runs for president. Let's also pretend that Barack Obama or George W. Bush or Bill Clinton, let's say those three guys choose a different career path. Let's say they just decide never to get into politics. We'll just go with the most recent. We'll go with Barack Obama, right? Mm-hmm. Let's say he just decides to do something else. He's an engineer, something like that.
Okay.
Whatever. Does whatever he wants to do. And you met Barack Obama and Donald Trump at a gathering, at a party, just with friends. Which one of those two guys are you honestly going to sit down and have a beer and a conversation with?
Barack Obama.
No question of fucking about it.
Yeah.
No question about it. And I have to repeat this again because people don't fucking listen when it comes to politics. They just hear one word like Barack Obama and think, Benghazi.
That kind of sounds like my impersonation of Trump just talking.
Benghazi. He did this and he bombed Syria. I'm not talking about any of that shit. I'm talking about the person. I'm talking about who they are as a human fucking being.
And understand, I'm not left.
You are not.
I'm not a
in fact,
left-leaning
Dave
person.
was a Trump voter himself. That you've admitted that on this show. Who's more likable? Who's a likable person? Barack Obama is an incredibly likable human being, and that right there for me is the difference between he and Donald Trump.
Maybe one of the most likable presidents in the history of the United States.
Yes, and cool is the fucking other side of the pillow. I mean, I did love him.
Who else can slow jam the news?
I did love him. I voted for him twice, and I would have voted for him a third time.
Yeah, who else can slow jam the news on Jimmy Fallon's show and make it awesome?
It's not even close, and that's what I don't understand. Like, I honestly get why people vote.
It's a great bit, by the way. I hope you've seen that before.
I have, yeah.
Okay, it's great. Anyway,
I
don't do it anymore.
I get why people voted for Donald Trump. You and I, we're good friends. You're one of my best friends, Dave. I'm not mad at you. It's not a problem. But this is the kind of stuff that makes Donald Trump the punching bag for comedians. He makes it so easy. He makes it so easy by the dumbass tweets that he throws out there and not showing up to something as simple as the Whitehouse Correspondents' Dinner. He couldn't even laugh at himself, like you were saying, in 2011? When Seth Meyers was on there, something like that.
2011 or 20, yeah.
He couldn't even laugh at himself when he wasn't the president. Unbelievable. And the hypocrisy behind it all. We're too politically correct. And then you want to call those jokes out from Michelle Wolf as being vulgar or over the line? You can't have it both ways, bro. Get the fuck out of here.
She did a good job. She had some solid clips in there.
I thought she did great.
Yeah.
It was great.
Yeah.
It was typical White House Correspondents' Dinner jokes. And Sarah Huckabee Sanders just stands right behind it. She gets pissed. No wonder she still has a job. Do you have any idea how much more respect I would have for Sarah Huckabee Sanders? Because I think she's a fucking moron. But how much more respect I would have for her if she had just laughed at herself.
Yeah.
Just laugh. Just have a good time. They're jokes. It's comedy. How can you take yourself that seriously? How? And Donald Trump had the perfect opportunity by showing up and standing up on that podium and delivering some jokes himself.
Yep.
Just like presidents in the past have done, like Barack Obama, like George W. Bush.
In fact, Barack, that same year that Seth Meyers hosted and had so many jokes at Donald Trump's expense, Barack Obama's monologue, his moment of glory there was really good, actually. He had some good jokes.
He was just likable. And that's the thing, like, because I know there are people that are listening to this that are going to get super fucking upset. And
you don't have to be likable to be funny.
Tune out everything that I'm saying, because when somebody on the far right finds out that you liked Barack Obama, they just automatically assume you're a moron and they quit. and they don't listen to anything. And it's the same thing if you're a Trump supporter. I'm not trying to make it sound like it's a one-sided deal. The left does the same thing. If they find out you're a Trump supporter, you're a racist and whatever else. But it got me thinking about, once again, the political nature of our country, and that is that we are, and I mean this with 100% feeling behind it. The United States of America, politically, is the dumbest country in the developed world. We are the biggest fucking morons of any country in the developed world politically, because nobody wants to listen to anything that anybody else has to say. I'll give you an example. I was on, I think it was on Facebook the other day, and it was actually, and I don't know if Jeff's still watching, but it was a post that Jeff's lady had posted, that Alex had posted about straight white males and their feelings for the transgender community. Now, I'm not mad at Alex. She's fine. I understand what she was trying to say. She and I are homies. I have no problem with what she said. But I got into this argument with this young woman about the feelings of straight white males, because who knows better what a straight white male feels than, I don't know, a fucking straight white male. But that's neither here nor there. It got to a point where I could just tell that this woman just hated men. She just hated men, and she hated anything that a straight white male had to say. She didn't want my opinion. She didn't want anything. And here's what upsets me about that, because these are the same people that are trying to be progressive, right? That are fighting for trans rights or gay rights or whatever rights, which is all well and good. We all are, I think we're all in support of human rights here, right? But what I was trying to make her understand is that her generic feeling about straight white males is just as prejudicial as what she's accusing those same straight white males of being. You're judging me simply because I have a dick and I have light skin. That's prejudicial as fuck, is it not?
It is. I mean, I can't speak to it because I wasn't there.
And here's the other thing. And I probably should have prefaced it with this. I get it, okay? Straight white men have had an easy road.
There's not an easier road to have.
For the past 200, I recognize that. I acknowledge that, and if I could go back in history and change it, I absolutely fucking would. But I can't. And if you think you're going to change a culture overnight, you're out of your fucking mind. I mean, I'm different than I was when I was 18 years old as a straight white male, right? We all did this, right? You're in high school. You're joking around with your buddies. You're constantly walking around calling each other a faggot, right? All the time. How often do you use that word now? Because I never use that word anymore. And the trans issue is very similar.
I think the word that got thrown around more in similar context, but just the word gay. Used in completely not for the dictionary purpose of the word.
Yeah.
Ever. Yeah.
Yeah. We all did it.
Yeah.
We all did it.
Yeah.
It doesn't make it right.
No.
But I can't go back and change that. And it didn't change overnight with the gay issue, right? Because, 10 years ago, homosexuality was still very taboo. It was something we made fun of. It was considered weak and femmy, right? That's what it was. Today? Not so much. It's just part of everyday life. Everybody's got a gay friend now, an out friend, and we're just living, right? We're doing our thing. The transgender issue, I mark my words, is going to be exactly the fucking same. Yes, right now it's still taboo, it's still weird, it's still whatever, but it's going to change. It's not going to change overnight. And there's always going to be a vocal minority, just as there are for anti-gay. Right? There's still a vocal minority out there. That's always going to exist. But for the most part, I think gay's pretty mainstream now, isn't it? I think it's kind of made its way to where it's not a big fucking deal to most people. Who cares? Fuck whoever you want. As long as it's not my girlfriend and it's not with a kid, I really don't care who you fuck. If you're currently a man who wants to be a chick, go ahead. I don't care. And eventually, that's where we're gonna get. Eventually,
it's the people that somehow
not going to happen overnight.
Somehow think all of the people in the LGBTQ community are going to like somehow it's going to affect their life. And actually, let me take it a step further. It's somehow they think it's going to negatively affect their life. And I don't really understand where that mentality comes from. Like, how would just your example, how would some individual deciding that they have identified themselves for their whole life as a female, even though they're a man, and they want to finally live life as what they believe to be their true self, right? How is that going to change anything about what you do in your life?
It's not.
It's not.
It's not.
So why? And what possible reason is there to look down or judge that person? It doesn't make any sense.
People want to bring up fake statistics like the suicide rate for the transgender community is super fucking high. Like, again, it doesn't have anything to do with you.
It's because somehow you let their life affect you. You're letting them bother you when they're not doing anything to bother you. And then you
it's a lot like the Whitehouse Correspondents.
You are the people who are negatively impacting them that is causing those numbers to occur. That's how this whole circle works. It's ridiculous.
And then once the transgender issue is resolved and it's become mainstream and it's okay, there'll be something else. Something else will come along that doesn't affect your life that you're for some reason going to have an opinion on. If you're a dude and you're happy being a dude, keep being a dude. That's great.
Well, who was that? Hey, who was that broad or that gal a few years back? It was Rachel something who identified as black.
Oh, yeah.
She was white.
Rachel Dolezal.
Yeah. I'm surprised that didn't catch on.
That did not catch on
at
all.
Doesn't she have a Netflix program now?
Does she really?
I'll look it up.
Find that.
I thought.
Because that's outstanding.
Unbelievable.
Race identity issues. That one's a little different. But maybe that'll be the next one.
See, that one, again, I'm not saying it bothers me, but that one I can't even understand. I don't really
see that offending some people. I'm just going to say.
What do you mean?
Because it's blackface, isn't it?
Oh, well, yeah.
Yeah, it's blackface.
I'm saying it doesn't bother me at all. I just didn't really understand the whole concept. Isn't your race your race? That one I don't get. I don't understand.
We could transition that right into Tony's piece on Outsports. He wrote it about Adam Rippon, right? The figure skating instructor.
Well, and a figure skater himself.
That's right. Well, now he's just an instructor, isn't he? Does he still skate?
He's currently, as of starting tonight, he's participating in this current edition of Dancing with the Stars, the all athlete edition.
The article that Tony wrote was about Adam Rippon and his newfound BFF, Gus Kenworthy, both openly gay men, and their newfound friendship as Kenworthy decides to take up skating. They were at Little Caesars Arena the other day, and I guess they're going to be on Nightline too, aren't they, this weekend? Is that what I read?
I had not read that part, so I can't speak to that.
I did like the final line of Tony's piece, where Rippon is taking credit for Kenworthy not visiting Trump's White House. He goes, I taught him well. They're not together. They're just homies. Mm-hmm. It was an interesting piece by Tony. I think we should give Tony a call and congratulate him on the piece and getting into Outsports.
Well, I also think
maybe talk baseball with him.
Now that you're talking about it, I actually think the article that I read today, I read what was in the Detroit News.
Oh, did you?
I think they are actually they might have some similarities, but I think they're separate.
Separate pieces.
Because now that you're talking about a couple of things you just mentioned, we're not in the one with I think they're two separate pieces.
They may be.
And I had not read the other one.
Tony went national. Give Tony a dial up. Let's give him a call. If he doesn't answer, he doesn't answer. We'll leave him a voicemail.
I like that we're calling him with I mean, I know it's his music, but
this is the Tony music. We always talk to him about baseball.
All right, we'll give it a shot. You got me
potted
up?
I think so. You're good?
We'll see.
TP! We need you!
He's probably watching Dancing with the Stars.
He may be.
I bet he is.
Good for Tony.
Hi, you've reached Tony Pohl of the
Oh,
Detroit
he
News.
just bitch
I'm
buttoned
not
ya.
available at the moment, but leave me your name and number, and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. Thanks. Have a great day.
I'll leave him a message.
At the tone, please record your message.
Oh, come
when
on.
you finish
Just give me the
recording, you may
beep.
hang up or press 1 for more options.
Tony!
Hey, Tony, it's Dave and Dan and Mike here from Out of Bounds Detroit Sports. We just wanted to call and wanted to get a couple moments talking about the Adam Rippon story you wrote.
Yeah.
And want to congratulate you. It's a great piece, both pieces. Because I actually didn't. I read the Detroit News edition of piece on him. Dan read the Out Sports edition.
Yeah.
I got to go back and read that one now. But both tremendous.
Maybe talk some Tigers and wondering what you're drinking tonight, Tony.
Yeah, we'll look forward to getting you on here soon and talking a little Tigers, talking a little bit about this Adam Rippon story. So
Call us back.
Give us a buzz.
We'll be recording
Thanks,
until
Tony.
about, I don't know. What do you think, Dave? About maybe 11:30?
I don't know. Call us back and we'll be here.
Yeah, Tony, give Dave a call.
All right. Bye-bye, man.
Woo! We tried. I'm happy for Tony. We were talking about some of the stuff he posts on Facebook. If you follow Tony Pohl on Twitter, you don't get to see what you get to see if he is your Facebook friend.
To a degree. Yeah, to a degree.
Very political, Tony is. Anyway, hopefully he calls us back. Maybe he will, maybe he won't. We tried. We gave it a conscious effort, did we not?
I can always just text him real quick.
Tony!
You know, there are some people that don't like cold calls.
He totally bitch buttoned us. We got like 3 rings out of that.
2.
We got like 2
2
rings.
and- yeah.
We got like 2 rings. That motherfucker hit decline. I need to talk to these turds.
So I found out about Dolezal.
Oh, yeah?
She does have a Netflix show.
Does she really? What's it called?
The Rachel Divide.
We are I'm so watching that shit.
Here you go. The Rachel Divide is a fascinating, comprehensive, and well-crafted documentary about a one-time civil rights activist in Washington state whose life unraveled as she was outed as a white woman pretending to be black.
It might be interesting. It might be really interesting.
Here's my consensus.
I'll give anything a shot. I'll try anything twice.
That bitch does not get 2 minutes of my time.
Do you know her, Mike?
No.
You don't know her. Let's give her a chance. Let's see what she
She gets none of my time.
Mike, I could see the wheels churning in Mike's head, calling me a snowflake.
I'm not saying that. You are a white woman, born a white woman, and you're going to pretend to be black.
But it might be interesting in ways that we don't even know. It might be very entertaining in the way that Teen Mom is entertaining. It might be a complete fucking train wreck. Who knows? We don't have black folks on this show very often. We should have them on more. I would love to know the opinion, because I can guarantee you the black friends that I have be laughing their ass off at Rachel Dolezal.
I'm sure they would.
You know why? Because white people don't have a sense of humor.
I got a text back.
Yeah.
He bitch buttoned us, as you say, because he literally is walking in to see Avengers right now. But I will tell you else. You know what else he said?
Tony!
He listened to the message because his second text was drinking Labatt.
All right, so we'll talk to Tony soon.
He said, let's chat soon.
I'm sure we'll talk to Tony soon.
And I will tell you, his birthday was the other day, and I wished him happy birthday. So he did. He heard from me on Friday, so he knows we're thinking about him.
He's the best.
He's a great man.
Who doesn't love Tony Pohl? He's like the Detroit writer version of Vince Scully, just likable.
Yeah,
good dude.
It's fair.
Did we even talk sports at all?
No.
We talked about Christie shoveling shit into his mouth.
That could be a sport.
He has he has the definition of a stupid pie eating face.
Excuse me.
Could you turn that into maybe a board game or something?
Make your way into Christie's
You know
mouth.
what? You know what? Here,
it's like Candyland.
There was a game that I had when I was from about the ages of 6 to maybe 12. And then I don't know what I ended up having to do. I think my parents got rid of it at a garage sale or something. But I swear to God, this game was called Eat at Ralph's. and it was a battery powered game that had this big. Yeah, you can probably find it. It just had this giant face of this fat lard dude that you had to like pop onto the front of this game, and then you would shove pieces of cardboard food into the mouth until the thing threw up. That's the one. Just put Chris Christie's face on there. That's it.
Christie
it's the
version.
Chris Christie game.
He was absolutely shoveling shit into his mouth.
Look at this thing.
You could do Hungry
simple.
Hungry Hippos, and you're replacing the hippo with Chris Christie.
That too. I would also love if you could just make if just somebody should just take a image of Chris Christie from the internet and just print it out small enough that you could just put the face.
Rogers just commented and said that he also had that game.
It's a great game.
But Roger, would you
an easy game.
Roger, would you like the Chris Christie version? The Chris Christie White House Correspondents' Dinner version.
You know what? The problem with the Chris Christie version is it would talk too much and say a lot of stupid shit.
And shut down a bridge. I can't believe she didn't make that joke, but is that just because Chris Christie's not nearly relevant enough at this point?
Yeah, it's not even worth the time to write a joke about.
God, is he a gross person? Like, he just I don't know. For a politician, he just looks like he doesn't shower.
I know because you're not a right-leaning person, you are going to disagree with every part of this, but there was a moment there, and I'll call it a moment because to me, just in the time period, it just seems like it was very fleeting. But there was a moment where like Chris Christie was a surefire big-time presidential candidate, right?
You know who else was a surefire big-time fucking politician for his time? Fucking Kwame Kilpatrick. So that means nothing to me.
I don't think Kwame was ever a presidential candidate.
Believe me, Dave. There were talks.
Kwame was his own president.
There were talks.
Kwame was president in his own reign. No, but I'm just saying. I just mean, that there was a period of time when Chris Christie first started that. I mean, across the country.
Look at the fun bags on that hose hound.
That's right.
In the Republican Party, he was getting rave reviews of the things he was doing in New Jersey. And, I mean, I don't know that I've seen. I shouldn't say that. I'm sure we've seen it. But there's definitely not a lot of guys who have fallen harder and faster than Chris Christie. And he did it to himself. I mean, he ate his own words 1,000 times. So, I mean, it was ridiculous. But he ate it. I mean, he ate and talked himself into an early political grave is what happened.
And then when his real grave comes, we're all assuming it's going to be a stroke or a heart attack.
Is he so big that you have to have two plots?
He might be. Do you think Chris Christie gets 2 airplane seats?
That's mean. No, maybe.
Chris Christie is the male version of the chicks that David Faze likes to be with on the weekends.
I will say the only reason why that's entirely possible that you could be right that he gets 2 airplane seats is because he's a person that probably can afford it.
Yeah.
That was why I would say that. Because there's a lot of people that probably should and would like to, but they can't afford to do that.
God, he's a gross person. Let's play a game.
Big man.
What was Chris Christie shoveling into his gullet at the White House?
It looked like dessert.
It did because he turned the spoon upside down.
Yeah, it was like frosting.
And he licked the shit out of that spoon.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
He certainly did.
He licked it harder than I would lick Emmy Rossum's vagina. He licked the shit out of that spoon.
Damn, dude.
I mean, because I would do things to that vagina. Wait, I'm going to get me too'd.
Yeah, you will.
You better watch
be
your
careful.
back, buddy.
My political correctness.
You better watch your back. She's married too, so now it's doubly bad.
That's all right. That probably makes me have a better shot.
Of getting me too?
No, of getting her and in general.
Oh, look at that! Look at that lovely picture.
God, is he a gross person? He looks like Clifford the Big Red Dog.
Any chance him and John Daly are like cousins or something?
John Daly's more of an athlete. I would love to see Chris Christie swing a golf club. What is it? What is he eating?
I mean, it's all Photoshopped.
Oh.
You got a Five Guys cup, some fries, fries coming out of his nose, piece of a burger hanging out of his mouth.
But how do you know it's Photoshopped?
He strikes me as the type of person that doesn't brush his teeth often enough.
He probably invests heavily in gum.
All right, we got to go to break. I swear to God, we're going to talk sports when we come back. We got to get into the NFL draft.
NFL draft for sure.
We've got to get into Daniel Norris's injury. And by the way, things not looking good financially for Michigan State University. Yes, we'll get into that when we come back on Out of Bounds Detroit Sports. David Faze, Mike Tripp, myself, Dan Griffin. Do not go away. SportsRadioDetroit.com.
Hey, this is Brittany Wagner with Last Chance U, and you're listening to Out of Bounds Detroit Sports.
We're pretty much ready to go here with this podcast.
What the hell is a podcast?
Broken bones, broken hearts, stripped down and torn apart. A little bit of rust, I'm still running. Counting miles, counting tears, twist the road, shifting gears. Year after year, it's all or nothing. But I'm not home, I'm not lost, still holding on to what I got. Ain't much left, Lord, there's so much that's been stolen. I guess I've lost everything I've had, but I'm not dead, at least not yet. Still alone, still alive, still unbroken.
Yeah! Welcome back! Out of Bounds Detroit Sports. David Faze, Mike Tripp, and myself, Dan Griffin, invading your ear hole, as always, on SportsRadioDetroit.com, Apple Podcasts, or wherever the hell you listen to podcasts. And I've been told I should just ask the people to, like us on Facebook. That's what I've been told. Apparently that works. Please, for the love of God, it helps. It really does. We try to get interviews. People go check our Facebook page. Check our likes.
Everyone send Dan the links to all of your favorite Nickelback songs, please.
Oh, for fuck's sake. That was an interesting break conversation.
Oh, man, I would laugh my ass off if I just saw a trail of Nickelback songs coming onto your feed tomorrow.
Dave asks the question, what did Nickelback ever do to anyone? They played really shitty music and convinced people to like it. That's what they did.
So now they're some sort of mad scientist.
I agree with this decision.
Hypnotize people? That's what you think happened?
I don't know what happened. It's like that one band that I've looked at and I've gone, they have such a following, but I don't know anybody who likes them.
It's because they're Canadian, so they're nice.
I guess.
I mean,
Chad Kroeger is probably the one person that if I just saw on the street, I'd just punch him in the mouth. Just for no reason. I just see him, just punch him. I don't know why I feel that way. But you are. It's a good question. What did they ever do to anyone? I don't know if
you'd recognize him.
I don't think I would recognize him.
I don't know what he looks like anymore. I have no idea what he looks like.
If he looks anything like Scott Stapp.
Nobody looks like Scott Stapp.
What's Scott Stapp up to these
days? Scott Stapp looks like he should be related to Mike Ricci. Just a little bit better nose. Just a slightly better nose.
Not the second dick in the room. Ever. Chad Kroeger or Mike Ricci. Neither of them are Manny Malhotra. Mike, what's Scott Stapp doing these days?
I am looking that up right now.
Is he getting lost trying to find himself?
I feel like our show would not be what it is if at least once a year we didn't delve into what was going on with Scott Stapp. I feel like that's relevant.
It was a great episode. The Stapp infection.
To our show. I don't
remember what episode that was. It was a long time ago.
We have to know what's going on with Scott Stapp. And
was that so old that was still Mars on microphones? Am I thinking that far back?
You might be thinking that far back.
It's very possible.
I don't know what's going on with Scott Stapp.
Well, back in February, this article on SILive.com, ex-Creed singer Scott Stapp stiffed new bandmates, 3 of whom are SI natives, suit alleges.
All you need to know about Scott Stapp is that he was in Indiana one time, and some chick got a hold of him via phone or text message or social media. I don't remember how long ago this was. And he drove 300 miles to meet this broad at a Denny's, and she wasn't there.
Yeah, it looks like he's facing some legal, getting sued.
Scott Stapp in trouble. Doesn't he believe the Earth's flat or something?
Him and Kyrie on a party together.
Oh, he's got tour dates for this year.
Oh, does he? Let's go to see Scott Stapp.
It was a false link. It says bands in town. Scott Stapp tour dates 2018.
I feel angry. I feel helpless.
Why is it throughout the history of our show that it behooves you only to blare the shitty songs that you play and not only are you blaring the shitty songs and covering our conversation, you never blare the good stuff you come out of break with. It's always tame.
Like what?
Anything that you actually want people to hear by coming out of break with it.
Discrimination now on both sides. Seeds of hate blossom further.
That's the latest update we have on Scott Stapp is that he has fake tour dates.
Yeah.
This is what Eddie Vedder would sound like if he had a stroke.
We may rise and fall, but in the end, we'll meet our fate together.
Now,
it's like he forgot how to pronounce words.
if we're gonna go back to Senior Kroeger, Kroeger,
yeah.
Look at this photograph.
That's old, right?
Every time I do, it makes me laugh. Enough said, right there.
That's an old photo, though, right?
I can't take him seriously.
Chad Kroeger always looks like an ugly broad.
Or how about this? Some frosted tips for
Oh my God, he looks like Lance Bass on crack.
Looks like Lance Bass got hit in the face and then had to have plastic surgery, and he got really blunt looking.
Oh, here you
I'm
go.
trying to get
Here's another
laid.
one.
Now he just looks like Dax Shepard right there. That's Dax Shepard.
How can you take him seriously?
Exactly.
Is there a current photo like what he looks like right now?
Is it me, or is this kind of almost
Michael Bolton,
a little Nicolas Cage-esque?
It's Nicolas Cage meets Michael Bolton.
They had a baby and it was Chad Kroeger.
Give me a 2018 or 2017 photo. I gotta see. What's he look like right now? What's his current incarnation?
Okay.
I'm not playing any Nickelback music. This is all Scott
I would like
Stapp.
to not listen to this either. Let's move on from this.
Apparently that's him today.
Is he a country singer now?
Kind of looks like it.
That's what he looks like he is.
He's in artists on iTunes.
This is... That was not.
No, he was featured.
I am so high, I can hear heaven.
Mike takes his headphones off. That's all we need to hear.
You know what's funny about Chad Kroeger though? Honest to God.
There's nothing funny about him.
If the music itself had actual quality to it, he's not a bad vocalist.
That is very delightful of you to say,
He's
Dave.
not a bad vocalist, but the music drowns.
You heard it
and
here
that's all his
first.
own fault. I'm not saying that he's good. He should have been better. I'm just saying he's not a bad vocalist, but the music wasn't that good.
You heard it here first on Out of Bounds Detroit Sports. David Faye claiming that Chad Kroeger not a bad vocalist. That is breaking news if I've ever heard it.
I think he's a better actual vocalist than Scott Stapp. Maybe that's not saying much because maybe people think Scott Stapp isn't very good either.
Breaking news! David Faze would like to have sex with the voice of Chad Kroeger.
What is your fucking deal, man? Every time I make a comment, it's got to turn into something sexual somehow.
You're the one who said that Chad Kroeger had a sexy voice.
I definitely did not say that, actually. But you know what? Let's go back, check the tape. Check the tape.
Well, if it isn't ass and wipe.
Oh, anyway. Should we talk about the NFL draft?
You're the one who wanted to go down this goddamn wormhole.
I like to refer to it as a rabbit hole, thank you.
No, this is way too unpleasant for a rabbit hole.
We were talking music and beer during the break, and Chad Kroeger came up. We were talking about Thornley.
Yes.
That's a band that like 3 people in the audience have heard of. And I didn't realize they were so closely related to Chad Kroeger, and that made my heart hurt.
There's definitely more than 3 people in the audience that know the songs, but they just don't know what the band name is.
Fine.
I guarantee you that.
It hurt my feelings to know that they were so closely related to Chad Kroeger, and now I'm not a fan. It's like when I found out Theory of a Dead Man was so closely related to Chad Kroeger. Now I just can't do it anymore. All I hear is Chad Kroeger every time. That's it? NFL draft now?
I don't know, man. It makes me laugh because we've played some garbage shit on this show before. Just makes me laugh, man.
All I'm gonna say, with the whole Chad Kroeger 604 Records, Thornley and Theory of a Dead Man stuff, if it's meant to be, man, set it free.
Let it go. Yep. You don't need any of it.
Maybe they'll actually sign with better record labels, and then you can have them back.
Oh, I can hear Chad Kroeger now. Now that I'm listening to it again, fucking Theory of a Dead Man. You can hear it, can't you?
I can hear it.
You can hear the influence. All he needed to do was just say something.
Are they all Canadian?
I think so.
Yes.
Girlfriend's a big magnet. My girlfriend.
Garbage.
Just close your eyes and it's Chad Kroeger singing it.
It's all garbage. All of it.
So sick of the hobos. Always begging for change.
This guy sounds like he's just strained the entire time. Like he's constantly trying to force his shit out while he's singing.
He just had a vasectomy.
Well.
Anyway. The NFL draft, it's over. It's done. Did you actually watch Day 3? Yeah, that was a terrible segue and I don't care.
Jesus.
Did you actually watch Day 3? Because I look at Day 3 and I go, how does anybody watch this on TV? How does anybody watch this drawn-out event?
We were waiting to go visit some friends who just had a baby, so I did have it on, but I didn't sit and watch the entirety of that day.
Did you? You went to go visit some friends that had a baby?
Yeah.
That's so sweet. That's so
this man has zero compassion.
I do, because you're grown up and married now. I'm not behind it.
Not behind what?
The grown up and married lifestyle. I can't do it.
Good for you.
What's going to happen when Kristen gets knocked up? What's going to happen? What's going to happen to David Faith? How are you going to change? You are going to change in the following ways. I don't have any ways. I just hope you don't change. I hope it doesn't change you. I hope you still keep banging fat broads and doing what you do, David Faith.
My children will never listen to this show. I'll tell you that.
Yes, they will.
No, they won't.
You'll play it for them when they're like 16. No. You'll be hammered in the garage teaching your son how to drink his first beer.
By the time my kid's 16, we'll be the old morons. That's what it'll be.
Well, that's true.
That's how it's going to
work.
work.
So like even if Kristen were to get knocked up today, how close would we be in age to your 16-year-old son?
Well, if I had a child today, or if she
9
got knocked
months
up
from
today,
now. 9 months from now,
I would be 45 by the time that child is 16.
Oh, we're not that old. I hope.
There's no chance in hell that a 16-year-old is going to think anything that a 45-year-old father is doing is cool.
Maybe. I mean, people are still into old school rock music. Classic rock's a resurgence.
We are not classic rock.
We will be, David Faze. We will be the podcasting version of classic rock.
That is awfully ambitious.
I have high hopes for this show. I don't know why, but I still do.
Man, you really flipped into the optimistic one there.
I did, didn't I? I got delightful Dan. That's what just happened. NFL draft.
God, our movement in between moments is great tonight.
Who cares? You watched day 3? Did you watch it?
Some, like an hour of it.
I watched literally none of it.
Fine.
Because here's the thing. I have a phone now that I can watch the draft, and I don't get how. And these numbers actually came out. The day 3 of the NFL draft.
Highest it's ever been.
Highest it's ever fucking been. In a league that's having issues with Colin Kaepernick, and nobody likes Roger Goodell, and head injuries, and all this garbage. Day 3 of the NFL draft's the highest rating it's ever got.
Because it got simulcast for the first time.
I don't understand.
And the other thing, and I'm not going to, it's not that I think that it took it from 1 million viewers to 13 million viewers or whatever the hell it was, I don't know. But the Shaquem Griffin story was a big story. People really tuned in for it.
It was, and Shaquem Griffin went in the 5th round of the Seahawks. Getting a chance to play with his brother.
Uh-huh.
And I make fun of the headlines that involve Shaquem Griffin.
Yeah.
Because the headlines that involve Shaquem Griffin only have to do with the fact that he doesn't have a left hand. Like, that's what it is. They're piggybacking on the fact that this young man doesn't have a left hand. Here's the thing. It's an awesome story, but here's the other thing. Dude's way better than a 5th round pick. Like, I don't care that he doesn't have a left hand. If I'm a betting man, this kid's going to have a hell of an NFL career.
I think the reason he fell more than anything, to be honest with you, once you got to about round 3,
it's because he didn't have a left hand.
Is because his position. A lot of teams weren't sure what to do with him positionally. It does play a part.
But here's the thing. Okay, so Shaquem Griffin started at University of Central Florida. For anybody who doesn't know the story, and if you're listening to this show, hopefully you do. Shaquem Griffin, draft pick out of University of Central Florida, that was born with a condition, and he had his left hand amputated.
At 4, I believe.
Yeah, he did at 4 years old.
I believe it was, yeah.
And so he played 5 years. He was a 5th-year senior of college football with no left hand. And he started he actually started as a defensive back at UCF. He was a safety. His first 2 freshman seasons, if that's what you want to call it. But he moved to linebacker as a junior, and as a junior, Shaquem Griffin had 11.5 sacks, 20 tackles for loss, and 92 total tackles. He actually had a slightly down season as a senior. He had 74 total tackles, 7 sacks, and he also had 3 career interceptions with one hand. This kid had. But he's
him Odell.
He's one of those people. He's the Jim Abbott of football. Can he not be the Jim Abbott of football?
Well, yeah. It's obviously a little different. But yeah, still one-handed athlete performing very well in his sport. So yeah, why wouldn't he?
He even scored a touchdown at UCF.
Well, because he's fucking fast.
And he led, and we made fun last week of Central Florida and their quote-unquote national championship rings. And I did that for a reason. It doesn't take away from the season. They had a hell of a season. They didn't lose a football game. And Shaquem Griffin was a massive, massive part of that. He was the heart and soul of that defense, and not just because he didn't have a hand and he was some sort of pity story. He's actually a hell of a football player.
He is.
If he had 2 hands, he was at worst a 2nd-round pick.
He also wouldn't have a scholarship if he wasn't a good football player.
That's true. But at worst, if he didn't... let's say he had 2 hands. He's got 2 hands. At worst, he's a 2nd-round draft pick. Like, he's that good.
I think he probably still would have been about 3rd.
Athletically, he's that good.
He's a good player.
But you look at him, he doesn't have a left hand. I'm intrigued to see what this kid does.
I actually think it worked out really well for him, to be honest. I think he actually fell in the perfect spot.
Went to a good situation.
Yeah.
Yeah, a Seattle defense that's looking to rebuild. But here's the thing. It's not just a story of a kid that was born with a defect and without a left hand that got a shot. What I want to make clear is that he's actually a really good fucking football player, and you're going to see that this fall because he's going to get some playing time in Seattle.
He'll be a surefire special teamer, and I'm sure they'll probably work out some I don't think he'll see a shit ton of snaps, but they'll work out some packages where he gets some time in there. Yeah, he'll get some snaps. I don't think it'll be. It certainly isn't going to be starter type of snaps, and it's not. I don't think it's going to be like number one reserve.
But here's the thing:
snaps,
why can't Shaquem Griffin be a? I don't know why I'm bringing up this example. It's just the first name that came to my head. A Stephen Tulloch style tackling middle linebacker. Why can't he be that guy?
Well, maybe he can be. Look, they'll figure it out. If he can play, he's going to play. So, I mean, look, I'm sitting here telling you that I don't think he's going to get an incredible amount of snaps, but I could be completely dead wrong. We'll just see how it plays out. There's training camp to figure things out, and if he's one of the best players, he's going to play.
Dude can tackle, man.
He's fast, too. He can rush passer.
He's a hell of an athlete, and he can wrap guys up, and he can tackle, and he can play in this league. I know he can.
He's going to have to be really in the NFL where every tackle that you'd be going up against if you're in there as like a rush linebacker is a big physical freak of nature type of guy. He's going to have to figure out he's going to have to really perfect his swim moves and that type of stuff because he's not going to be able to bowl people over in the NFL.
Not if he is a tackling middle linebacker. These are guys that don't rush the passer.
I don't think they're going to play him at middle linebacker.
Probably
not.
He's
not quite big enough for that.
Probably not. But I think Shaquem Griffin would fit great in a 3-4 middle linebacker scheme. I think that's where he would probably fit best, where he's just there to tackle running backs. And here's the thing, too, about Shaquem Griffin. Go look at the tape. This isn't me making shit up. Dude can actually pass cover. Like, legitimately, he's good in pass coverage.
Well, it's because he's a good athlete.
He had 3 interceptions at UCF. I expect big things. I really do. Not because, I'm rooting for him.
You heard it here, people. Dan Griffin thinks the Lions should have taken Shaquem Griffin number 1 overall.
I wouldn't have hated it. Number 1? No, not number 1.
They're with their first round pick, I'm saying.
No. Would I have been all right if they had taken him in the 2nd or 3rd round? I probably wouldn't pitch a bitch about it. He's that good. Just watch. I'm calling it right now. He's the anti-Jared Goff.
We don't even know what Jared Goff is yet.
I know. I may have to offer Jared Goff a mea culpa this season. We're going to see what he does this season.
We don't know what he is.
We're going to see what he does this season. Then I will offer my apology. But yes, fine season for Jared Goff last year. And the Rams are fucking going for it, man.
Mm-hmm.
Good for them. If Jared Goff's as good as he was last year, there's no reason this team can't win a Super Bowl. But anyway, switching it locally with the Lions draft, I feel like we're getting mixed emotions from the public about the draft.
I think more people than not have come to the side of I don't think anybody, let's put it this way, I don't think anybody is sitting there going like, oh my God, this draft was amazing. But I think most people, now that they've had a day or two to digest and really look at it, anybody who was on the fence, like, I don't know, are probably thinking, yeah, it wasn't, as we like to say, the sexy picks in a lot of ways, but a lot of really good fits for what this team is trying to do. And that's what Bob Quinn's done since he's been here.
Yeah, what I think is that the people that are upset about this draft are the people that have not yet had the chance to experience what it actually looks like to competently select your draft picks.
To build a football team.
To actually do the right things. Because here's the thing. I give, if we're putting draft grades on it, I'm giving it a B. I'm giving it a B. And the only reason I'm not giving it an A is because the one criticism that I could have for Bob Quinn and Matt Patricia for this particular draft is it was very centric. Now, it was centric in a way that I don't have a problem with, and that is trying to build a running game.
Mm-hmm.
That's what this draft was built around, trying to build a running game. So if you're gonna knock it, it was very centrally located towards that. But that's really the only complaint I have.
You know what's funny too is that the second offensive lineman they took, that Tyrell Crosby in the 5th round, I don't think that was their game plan all along at all. No, I think that was a thing where that guy fell and he was way over the value for where he wound up.
That too, and you can say the same thing about Deshaun Hand. I think Deshaun Hand was a bit of a steal.
Well, and they traded up to get him because they wanted a guy like that. That was great. That kind of a player is a great fit for what Patricia's going to try to run on that defense. So that was a great pick to me. Honestly, the one pick that I didn't understand as much, and the only pick that I really had a big bugaboo with, and I could be completely wrong because maybe he's a really good player, is just the third rounder, Tracy Walker.
Yeah.
He might be great, because I don't know much about him, but I really felt like third round was a spot to try to, and again, I know they did in the fourth round, but to try to address a little more the defensive line. However, I understand they have a board, they have a plan, and if their grade on the defensive linemen that were there wasn't as high as it was on Tracy Walker, which obviously was the case, you take the player you feel better about. I get that.
And take it from me, the ultimate Lions cynic. I looked at this draft, and I went, I have some small gripes that I could make if I really wanted to, like the fact that Kerryon Johnson's an injury risk, or some of the other things that happened towards the middle of the draft. But I look at this draft and I go, it finally feels like you have a front office that has some semblance of an idea that it knows what it's doing. And that's all I've ever wanted. I am going to be 30 years old in November. And I've never looked at a Lions draft and gone, I'm 100% happy with it. This is great. They're finally addressing needs. They're not going out and trying to sign fucking Reggie Bush to come in and have one decent year and like that's going to be your answer. I look at this draft and I go, it's fine. I can't make any super major gripes about it. And maybe it's sad that that's all I look for. I don't know. Now, we were texting a little bit about the fact that the Lions did not draft Darius Geis, and they had a chance to do so. Twice. They had a chance to do so. And Jeff brought up a good point. There's got to be something wrong with him. There's got to be something that Bob Quinn and Matt Patricia looked at that they didn't like about Darius Geis. I don't know what that is. Nothing's come out to this point other than the fact that early on in the interview process he was saying some shit about how an NFL team had asked him an awkward question. Other than that, nothing much. Because this is a guy that I wanted in the first round. And they didn't get him. And they went out and they grabbed Kerryon Johnson instead of him in the second round. And who did he go to?
He went to Washington.
Yeah.
Right near the end.
And
of the second round.
It's a good point. There's got to be something that they say. But doesn't that just tell you everything you need to know about this Lions administration at this point? Because every other administration I would have gone, they don't know what the fuck they're doing. But with this one, I go, maybe there is something wrong with Darius Geis. It's just, that's the different feeling that you have with Matt Patricia and Bob Quinn that I've never experienced before. And it's very different for me, and I'm still trying to get used to it, and it's weird for me.
You
it's
know
almost
what
like puberty all over again.
Is like, if this wasn't year number one with Patricia as head coach, I think there's a possibility that if the stuff with Geis is some character issue concerns, that they might have taken a gamble on that because the talent level is there. But I think that they doubled down on that whole idea. First of all, they're not going to actively try to insert, the proverbial bad seed into the locker room. But it's also, I think, something that I think both of them, I'm sure, Matt Patricia and Bob Quinn, don't want to do in his first year in control. You don't want to make things any more difficult on yourself than you have to in year one as you're getting your bearings and you're figuring out a little bit exactly what it is that how you want to go about controlling your team, right? So it's, even for that reason alone, if it's a little bit of character issue, I totally get it. I totally get that idea completely. And to be honest with you, I had heard a lot of stuff. I didn't know they were going to trade up to get him. I didn't know how far he would fall. I mean, it's almost impossible to predict exactly where guys are going to go because the nights and days are so fluid. with the movement for different teams. But there was a lot of people projecting that Kerryon Johnson was a guy the Lions really liked. They had him in for a top 30. They worked him out. I mean, it wasn't like they smoke screened that one too much, that they had interest in him. I mean, they worked out a lot of people. But
it's the injury. It's the injury that you have some reservations about.
And we'll see. I do think it's interesting that Bob Quinn kind of said that they want to use him more outside than he was used at Auburn, where they ran him between the tackles a lot, which is a more physical area. Not to say they're not going to run him in the middle at all, but they're going to try to use him as look. They got LeGarrette Blount in here because they want LeGarrette Blount to bulldoze people, right? And that's what he's here for. So especially for this year, that it's totally reasonable not to use Kerryon Johnson as a just bull rusher, but at the same time, I think he's a very versatile guy. Bob Quinn, I was actually listening to an interview tonight on my way here with Bob Quinn, and he was talking about how in their workout with him and in the game tape that they watched, they think that one of the things that people don't know about Kerryon Johnson that they're going to learn is that he was incredibly, just because of the way Auburn ran their offense, he was very underutilized as a pass catcher. They said he's got great ability in the pass game that they did not use at Auburn because it's just not the way they constructed their offense. So they think he's a versatile guy, and I think that's all you're looking for.
Like I said, it's just the injury. And here's the other thing, too. When you look at Kerryon Johnson as that kind of guy, and like you said, LeGarrette Blount is the guy that you've got in here to run between the tackles.
Might as well be Brunt.
Yeah, for real.
Yeah.
LeGarrette Blount. For a 1-year stopgap, I dig it. Between the two guys. And you look at it and you go, okay, so the Lions focused in this draft on trying to bolster the run game. That was clearly their game plan.
Including drafting a fullback, which they said they were doing away with, and then they're bringing it back.
Yes, they are.
Because that's a very Patriot thing.
Kid out of San Diego State.
San Diego State, yeah. He was the lead blocker, lead guy for the top two, the lead rusher the last 2 years. Rashad Penny this past year, and I don't even know the guy's name, but the guy who was the lead rusher for San Diego State the year before.
But here's the thing: if we think about it simply, right? So I gave the draft grade a B because it was so centrally focused on the run game. But the B is not so bad when you factor in the fact that the run game is what the fucking Lions are missing. So you get this team out on the field this fall, and you can actually run the football? Maybe you win 2 more games. You're an 11-win football team in that case. What happens then? Maybe you win a division.
I'll tell you another thing I really liked about this draft when it comes to the regime and their handling of these things that came out as the draft went along. That 3 or 4 picks in a row, it just tells you that they're prepared. Basically, is what I think it means. That like 3 or 4 different picks, they picked the guy. Now, granted, they're not going to pick a guy just to keep him from somewhere else. You're going to pick a guy because you want him, but they also picked a guy in a certain spot at some cases, knowing full well that guy was probably going to go within the next 2 to 3 picks after you. Frank Ragnow was one of them. It came out after the draft that the Bengals were absolutely going to draft him right after the Lions, and they wound up taking Billy Price because Ragnow was gone. The Patriots were hoping against hope that he would fall to them at 23, and apparently the Vikings, even more so in a up shit creek moment because they were all the way at 30, were really hoping Frank Ragnow was going to fall all the way to 30 because they really wanted him. Okay, so there's one feather in the cap. Lions got a guy they wanted and kept him out of the clutches of a couple other teams that were really hoping for him. Same thing with Kerryon Johnson. The ironic thing is the team that supposedly really wanted him behind the Lions was the Washington Redskins, who wound up taking Darius Geis for 2 reasons. One, because obviously I'm sure they had him rated highly on the board, and 2, they obviously wanted a running back and felt that they had to just take the gamble, and we'll see how well it pays off. And then even Tracy Walker, it came out after which goes back to me saying, they obviously had him rated properly for themselves. Sounded like they were at 82. Carolina at 85 apparently had Tracy Walker rated right at the top of their board and were really looking at taking him in the third round as well. So this is
now, Dave, as somebody who's the ultimate Lions,
they're doing their homework.
As somebody who's the ultimate Lions cynic, you guys know this. We've been doing this show for 4 years now, or whatever it's been. I can't look at this draft and make a horrible complaint about it. I can't. I just can't. I can't look at this draft and go, there's nothing I hated. There were a few things I didn't love, but there was nothing that I hated. There was nothing that I went, whoa, God damn it, why the fuck did you do that? Nothing. I never had that feeling. For the first time in my life, in my almost 30 years of life on this earth, being somebody who has been closely related to the Detroit Lions, being from Detroit, for the first time, I did not look at an NFL draft and go, why the fuck did they take that guy? Last year, I can go, why the fuck did they take Tease Tabor? And any year before that, I'm sure I can make a complaint of some kind. This year, I can't. I've got nothing.
Hey, if Tease becomes your nickel guy, that pick was just fine.
Oh, and he played well towards the end of the year. He was terrible at the beginning of the year. Slow as fuck.
Well, they almost kind of held him back purposefully, from everything I understand, which is an interesting strategy. But maybe they know. Maybe they just know how to handle their guys.
Daniel Norris is hurt again.
Yep.
For your Detroit Tigers. And here's the other thing about Daniel Norris: not very good. He's just not very good. And I think that's okay. I think that's something you can live with. You were hoping that he was going to be the centerpiece of that David Price deal. I don't know about you, Dave. I think I'm ready to call it quits on Daniel Norris. Is that premature?
No, I'm not gonna say it's premature. I disagree with it, but it's not premature.
I had his numbers here. So he's made 47 starts in his career with a 4.45 ERA and a 4.145 WHIP. 1.45 WHIP.
I was going to say, is that even a possible WHIP to have? 4.14. That's just a home run on every swing.
That's basically 4 base runners per inning. You're not staying in the major leagues very long.
No, you're out after 2 games.
1.45 WHIP.
Okay. Yeah, it's very, very middle of the road.
No, that's terrible. For a WHIP? That's almost 1.5 base runners per inning. That's awful.
Well, he walks too many guys.
You don't want that.
He walks too many guys.
Here's the thing about Daniel Norris.
No, you don't want that. That's why I said it's very middle of the road.
He's a guy that's shown a propensity to be injured. He's a guy...
It's still the same injury, too, apparently, or something, which is strange. Which supposedly he had a clean bill at the beginning of the year. So
which is even worse. Which is even worse. When you've got a similar or the same injury over and over and over.
Well, but the thing is there's no way that he was healthy, because the velocity, they're saying that the velocity being down has to do with this injury that he's now going to have a procedure for, right? But how is it possible that he had a clean bill of health when he's been throwing at that speed since the beginning of spring training? That would have signaled me right away that he wasn't healthy. And they were pulling up, well, it's spring training, he'll get his velocity back. Well, it never came back. So at what point were you not going to question that this velocity had dipped 6-7 miles per hour? And this is not an older guy that all of a sudden is going to lose some strength off the arm.
He's 24, right?
He's 24 years old. So I think that this was probably let go too long. That's my own opinion.
No, and here's the thing. It could be a situation where it's a young guy that got hurt. Okay, that's fine. I can live with that. But either way, I'm done with the experiment at this point. I mean, he's a guy that's demonstrated he's got no control. He cannot find the strike zone. He can't stay healthy. Even at 24, he's a guy that I'm willing to part ways with at this point. They won't, because he is so young.
I mean, well, first of all, do you mean part ways with, like, straight up just cut him?
Yeah, he's done. He's done. I'm ready to say that Daniel Norris he's got nothing. He's got nothing to offer the team as far as both his injury issues and his inconsistency issues.
The inconsistency is the problem. He's got stuff. But he's been incredibly hot and cold with it. So he'll have games where he comes out and he throws fire and he throws great, but it's not consistent. The thing that I think is, I think what I would say is that I might be ready to tell you that I believe that if he's going to make it, he's going to make it as a long reliever, not as a starter.
And he'll probably have to do that elsewhere. Not here.
Well, with the way this team is constructed right now, it's gonna be at least 2-3 more years before they decide they want to cut bait with him. Because it's all young. They're all young.
I like Daniel Norris. I love the whole living out of the van thing, and the goofy shit that he does. I enjoy Daniel Norris. I still think he's very good. And he can't stay healthy.
No, I'm not ready to give up on the stuff.
You never are.
Because it's there.
That's what makes this show work. I'm ready to give up on a guy after one start, and you're ready to give up on him after.
Which is ironic for a guy who stretches sample size. I just find that very funny. I'll give up on him right away. Just cut him now.
I think 47 career starts is a decent sample size.
I'm not talking about Norris right now necessarily. I just think it's funny that you said that. When I'll come on here and be like, hey, man, he's been good for 5 games. You'll be like, yeah, but it's only 5 games.
I'm like Trump.
Wait till it's like 25 games. And I'll say, hey, it's been 25 games. You'll be like, give me a season. I need a season.
I'm the sports Trump.
God, that's a claim you probably shouldn't make about yourself.
I hate everything, but I love everyone.
God, we need to make that a tagline of the show. Join Delightful Dave and the Sports Trump.
The Sports Trump. That's me. I can make fun of everyone, but nobody make fun of me. That's me. With sports.
Actually, if you do, just make sure I know about it ahead of time and that I won't show up. That would be Sports Trump, right? As long as he knows he's getting made fun of, he just won't be there.
That's true.
Even though he should be there.
Yeah. Unfortunately,
he was probably playing golf.
Unfortunately for me, I make every episode until I go to summer camp. Then it's gonna be all you guys.
Oh, goody.
I'm gonna have to leave the door unlocked. I'm gonna have to give one of you guys a key.
I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do a Dan.
I'm not gonna give a key to Dave because he's the last one to show up. I'll probably give it to Jeff.
It's gonna be a Dan Griffin tribute show. And it's just gonna be all Nickelback the entire night.
You guys love me. This show wouldn't be anything without me.
I'm not gonna enjoy doing it, but I'm gonna do it just to spite you.
Oh shit! What else I have besides trying to call Tony? Oh God! The financial issues at Michigan State. Did you see this shit?
I have not seen any about this.
Holy motherfucker!
Like it's supposed to surprise me.
So financial experts are saying that literally they have no. And this came from the Detroit Free Press. God damn it! I wish I had the article pulled up because I'd love to give credit to the writer, but this definitely came from the Free Press.
Well, I think doesn't Chris Solari write for the Free Press for Michigan State?
Yeah, but I don't know
was it not him?
I don't know if it was him.
Okay, well anyway, we're not going to credit anybody because we don't know.
I apologize.
It's fine. We'll figure it out later.
I apologize ahead of time.
We'll add it in post.
It's something. Yeah. But financial experts saying that they have no idea how Michigan State University will pay out all of its settlements. And I thought this was an incredibly interesting article. And go to the Free Press because I'd love to give credit to the writer, but unfortunately I'm a turd and didn't write it down. And I just thought this was interesting because Penn State, when they had to make all their payouts to the Sandusky victims, Penn State had 35 accusers.
It's written by Howell, Michigan State. David Jesse is the gentleman's name.
Okay, from the Free Press?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good. Thank you for looking that up because I forgot to write it down. But Penn State had 35 accusers. And Penn State paid out $109 million to those 35 accusers. That's $3 million per victim. Michigan State had 300 accusers against Larry Nassar. At $3 million per accuser, that's $900 million in just the bullshit math that I was able to do. Now, Michigan State made $2.9 billion last year profit. in 2017. They have $1.1 billion in outstanding debt, and they have a $39 million insurance policy. Okay, so let's say that they're able to collect on that $39 million insurance policy. That's still an incredible amount of money that they still have to pay out, even with that $39 million. And by the way, Penn State, when they went through this, had to sue their insurance company to get what they were owed.
Yeah.
So even if Michigan State gets their insurance company to pay this right off the bat, let's say they don't even have to sue them. Oh, here you go. Here's your $39 million. You're still... What are we at? So if they get $39 million, they still and they have $900 million that they have to pay. $860 million that has to come from somewhere.
861 technically.
Now,
by the way, in this article, it also tells you, just for another figure, their 2016-2017 tuition revenue. $859 million. So you're basically right at cost, tuition cost, with that dollar amount if you were able to get your insurance money right away, and you include the tuition dollars, which I don't know how the semantics of and how that works, but let's just say all things are equal. You can just plug and play, right? Which I know is not the case. You're still technically right there. You're still $2 million short.
But factor this in too. John Engler came out and said, I want to say a couple months ago, he came out and said that tuition costs are going to have to cover this. Okay, so factor in what that means for Michigan State in the future. You're a parent sending your kid to Michigan State, and you hear the interim president of Michigan State University saying that your child's tuition is going to have to pay back survivors of Larry Nassar. What's going through your mind at that time?
Well, if you're thinking rationally, you first have to see what the dollar amount is that tuition is at that point. And if tuition covering for that also equals that there's been a large spike in the tuition cost, which seems logical that would happen, right? That would be the first and foremost.
But doesn't this mean Michigan State losing a ton of potential students?
Oh, I guarantee you enrollment will go down.
And that's the problem. That's the problem right there, because if you're paying out these Nassar victims, which they deserve, I don't think anybody's denying that, $3 million minimum. My friend Abby, God damn it, I hope she's a millionaire after this is all said and done.
Were the $300 million all accusing specifically Michigan State, or was this in regards to Nassar also including stuff with the national team? Are those numbers included in there too?
No, this is just Michigan State. This is just Michigan State. I look at that and I go, there's no way in fucking hell I'm sending my kid to Michigan State. If I know that my kid's tuition money is going to pay for something that a child molester did, if I know that my child's tuition money is going towards basically covering up for the lying, cheating bullshit that happened at that university, fuck you, I'm sending my kids somewhere else. Sorry to say. Gone.
There'll still be kids that are going to be on scholarship and stuff, and so those kids will still go. But yeah, enrollment will drop. It's just an inevitability if that's what you're doing.
And here's the other thing. At the same time, right, John Engler wants to come out and say that tuition costs are going to have to pay for some of this. Meanwhile, you give buyouts to Mark Hollis, to Luana K. Simon.
Well, those are all written in contract.
To so many others that are... They are written in contract, but you got to believe that there's got to be some sort of legality that can remove you from that contract when it has to do with something like this.
Well, I mean, there might be some things that can be done after the fact. That's usually how those work. It's the same thing with, like, bonuses to certain players in the NFL who have been then sued by. There's been litigation between them and the team after the fact, whether it's a retirement or whatever, and to get some of the money back. It's usually after the fact, so that's not. I'm not gonna. That could happen.
The point of the Free Press article.
Kathy Kroeger should probably be in prison, but she's got a buyout. So
the point of the Free Press article was how in the world is Michigan State going to pay for this?
They don't know at the moment.
No, and they don't. Even financial experts don't know how they're going to do this, and I'm very, very interested going forward because public universities, state universities, they don't claim bankruptcy.
By the way,
and there's a reason they don't claim bankruptcy. Why? Because the state's going to bail them out every time. And I'm going to tell you right now, if I find out that my fucking tax dollars are going to pay for the damage that Larry Nassar has done, oh, you better believe I'm going to be upset. And we all should be upset. Because that's fucking bullshit.
It's a tangled web.
There are a lot of places that my tax dollars go that I don't like seeing them go. But this is one that's blatant and out there in the open for everyone to see.
Well, we'll see if that happens.
And if my choices are between my tax dollars going to pay the victims of Larry Nassar, which they deserve, for sure. They absolutely deserve. But it shouldn't be coming out of my pocket. It should be coming out of the pocket of Luana K. Simon. It should be coming out of the pocket of Kathy Kroeger. It should be coming out of the pocket of Mark Hollis. That's where that money should be coming from. And if I find out that my tax dollars are going to this, and my choices are shut down Michigan State University permanently, or force them to go into bankruptcy, or come out of my pocket, fuck you, Michigan State University. You're gone. Every fucking time. But we know that's not going to happen. That university isn't going anywhere. Even though, under those circumstances, it should.
Well, there's a lot of things to work here. I mean, we don't know what's going to happen, but there's been no conversation about tax dollars at the moment, so we'll see.
Oh, but you get what I'm saying, though.
Yeah, I understand.
My tax dollars go to pay for Michigan State University.
Sure.
They go to pay to Michigan University. Michigan University? University of Michigan. Western Michigan. Eastern Michigan. Central Michigan. All these state colleges my tax dollars go to.
Mm-hmm.
That's fine. I'm good with that. But when I find out that they're going to pay for this, I got a problem with that. And I think we all should.
Well, the only way you're going to be able to know that is if the amount of money, if the trail shows you that the amount of money coming out of your taxes that's going to Michigan State all of a sudden has gone up. And I don't know how. I know there's got to be a way because there's lots of public documents that you can look at, but you'd have to actually track it to see if that figure has increased from previous years. You know what I mean? Because tax dollars are always going to, like you said, are always going to go to these places regardless.
Let me ask you guys both this question then. You got to you send your kid to college, and you find out part of that tuition money has to go to pay for this. Are you willing to pull your son or daughter out of Michigan State University to go to a different place? Because I fucking am.
Yeah.
Goodbye. You're going to Central. You're going to Western. You're going to Michigan.
Well, man, I'm gonna let the kid have a little bit of choice.
Sure.
Depending on expense, obviously.
Sure, but you ain't going to. And here's the other thing: talking about raising the tuition of out-of-state students. That's something that's been discussed in order to pay for this.
I have no idea what that cost is right now, but I'm sure it's a lot.
It doesn't even matter because this is a national story. Everybody knows that this is going on. Everybody knows what happened. How the hell are you going to get out-of-state students to come to your school with what's already transpired and knowing that they're raising your tuition simply to pay the victims of Larry Nassar.
You know what would be the best thing they could do is to, and I think because of the situation they're in, it's probably impossible, but for their own sake, for the way that they're going to be viewed by people that are possibly going to enroll or still considering enrolling and that kind of thing. I don't know exactly how tuition spikes on a yearly basis get figured. I'm not privy to that. I don't know exactly how it works. But I will tell you that if Michigan State, if there's any possible way that this year and maybe next year, they can figure a way to keep tuition at a level point and not raise it, no matter whether or not they are then using some tuition money to help with this, if you don't raise the cost, it looks a lot better than saying, hey, we got a 25% increase, and oh yeah, guess what? It's because we're using a bunch of this money to help pay off these victims. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
No, I'm sure, like I said, there's ways you could figure out whether or not your money is actually going to that or not.
Let's not forget the fact that Michigan State also has $1.1 billion in outstanding debt. Now, that's not outlandish. That's not any different than probably most major universities, but it's something to factor in.
Mm-hmm.
You already have that happening as well.
They're going to have to hope for some benefactors to give them some money now, apparently. And I don't know who's going to do that.
This is it's an unprecedented situation.
Mm-hmm.
We've never seen anything like this before. Even with Penn State, 35 accusers. Michigan State, what did I say? 300 accusers.
Even if somehow it was only $1 million per person. Just even say that. $1 million per person. You're talking $300 million.
They deserve every dollar that they get.
But I'm just saying, just even think about that.
That's not what I'm trying to say. They deserve every dollar that they get, but it should not come out of my pocket. It shouldn't come out of your pocket. It shouldn't come out of Mike's pocket. It shouldn't come out of anybody who's listening to this podcast's pocket.
I mean, we don't know everyone. I'm just kidding. That was a joke. I apologize. I was going to say, we don't know everyone.
This needs to come out of the pocket of Mark Hollis and Kathy Klages and Luanna K. Simon. They're the ones who covered this up openly. And we know this. This isn't breaking news. They did this. And they did this to themselves. But no. Luanna K. Simon gets free IT. Basically for the rest of her life. Gets to show up on campus whenever she wants. Mark Hollis gets a nice buyout. But you and I, folks that make a wage, we make a wage. It comes out of our pocket. And that's fucking bullshit. And if my choices are my tax dollars going towards this or shutting down Michigan State University permanently, forever, shut down Michigan State University tomorrow. Shut them down yesterday. Because I ain't paying that shit. But I don't have a choice. I got to pay my taxes regardless. And that's what makes America bullshit. Not only are we the most politically idiotic country in the world, but you could argue we're just the most idiotic country in the world. Because only we set ourselves up like this. Go ahead. Go out there. Find me another nation where young girls can get raped on a college campus and that nation's people have to pay for it. Go ahead. Find it. at OB_Det_Sports on Twitter, or Out of Bounds Detroit Sports on Facebook. Go ahead, send me some messages. I'd be happy to listen. Maybe I'm an idiot. Prove me wrong. We're the only place that does this shit like this. And that's it. I'm done. Do we have anything else to talk about?
No, it was a dark finish.
God damn it, it was. Started with Daniel Norris and Scott Stapp, and it ended with Larry Nassar touching little
You know who
girls.
did it? I know what happened. You played Nickelback on the show.
It was that damned Chad Kroeger.
That's what happened, man.
We're leaving with some Scott Stapp.
It infected the show. That's just how it is, man.
Damn it. I got upset there towards the end. I'm not a mad guy, but god damn it.
I don't know. You got to set at the beginning of the show too.
That shit right. Did I get upset a lot this show?
You were angsty tonight.
Was I?
A little bit.
I apologize for that. We're gonna have Trudy Daniels on Thursday to congratulate her on her championship and see how this victory has changed her life in the following ways. So tune in for that. If you have any questions for Trudy, tweet them at us at OB_Det_Sports or get a hold of us on Facebook. Just search Out of Bounds Detroit Sports on Facebook.
I mean, you should already be following the page, but
you should.
That's what I'm just saying.
Do you have any questions for Trudy? I love Trudy. She's my girl.
We know.
I look up to her. And Drew and Mark.
Ironically, I think you're taller than all of them.
I probably am.
I'm pretty sure.
I probably am. Particularly, I know I'm taller than Drew.
I'm pretty sure you're taller than Trudy.
I'm definitely taller than Trudy.
I don't think
know
Trudy's
about Mark.
6 foot.
I don't know about Mark. Anyway, we'll be back Thursday. Trudy Daniels, your top Detroit female personality. She's the queen of Detroit right now. We'll have some more. I'm sure Jeff will have his 2 cents on the NFL draft, although I'm pretty sure he's in lockstep with us. I think he's pretty close. For David Faze, Mike Tripp, and myself, Dan Griffin, Out of Bounds Detroit Sports on sportsradiodetroit.com. And please go to sportsradiodetroit.com. Just peruse the website. Find what you like. Million different podcasts, writing content. And that's it. That's all I've got. Out of Bounds Detroit Sports, sportsradiodetroit.com. We're out of here.
The only way